I grew up loving the stories of changelings, and I think the fairy kind of lore is really wonderful because it's childlike and it's also very mature and sensual. There's this like coexistence of darkness and beauty that really resonated with me, and to be able to kind of think about what they would be like in today's world was just a dream.
I've been writing Gothic horror stories for 10 years now, so they've always been set in like the 19th century. They've always had a very particular vibe to them. So I wanted to do a story that was more contemporary and a blend of the Gothic, that kind of styling and atmosphere, but also with Irish folk horror, because I don't think it's been tapped, and it's a wonderful source. Basically all the stories we hear growing up, they're all, in essence, horror stories. The Watchers were inspired by a race called the Tuatha De Danann.
These kind of ancient fairy creatures who are these tall, statuesque, beautiful, godlike creatures who come into society.
They were wonderful craftsmen. They were renowned for their art. They were just beautiful. And then when the Milesians came to Ireland in 1700 BCE, and they were to become the Irish people, they banished the Tuatha De Danann underground. So we've combined the Tuatha De Danann with another element of Irish folklore, which is the changeling. So the changeling was this shapeshifter. So I've taken this ability, this unique trait that the changelings have, and given this to the Tuatha De Danann. Because they're changelings, they naturally adapted to the darkness of their environment. So eyes became nocturnal. Skin over time became susceptible to daylight, like it became like a weakness to it. They just became the Watchers because they were imprisoned under there. They became leaner and longer. The claws and the teeth were better for digging out tunnels, and over the centuries they just forgot who they were.
And now, after all these centuries, they're different and dark, and they're angry and vengeful.
104, take 3.
Ashana's vision, she put a wonderful emphasis on the mythology and how the ancient Irish history is woven into the horror of the Watchers.
Throughout the process, my goal was just to deepen this kind of idea of getting to know a species like the Tuatha. That was like the main kind of driving force as I was redrafting scripts. It was just me wanting to go deeper and imagining like Madeline needs to have a real name. She needs to have a name that she's referred to by her own kind.
In Ricton was a name for Madeline that Ashana came up with. A loose translation would mean kind of the strange one, which makes perfect sense for Madeline because she doesn't really fit in anywhere.
Madeline was looked upon by the others as, something, an oddity, or even resented. So she really didn't have a home.
There's so much more to her than just another Watcher who was left above ground when they were banished under.
Yeah, I can't land any earlier, that's the place.
So I think it's part of growing up in Ireland that it's almost a part of you, really, that the landscape and mythology and folklore are all kind of entwined. I think that these old stories, because they're such a part of the Irish psyche, I think that a lot of us would still in some way kind of believe them. Like, surely there's a reason why they've survived all these centuries. There might be some little grain of truth that's kept it alive, and that's all you need, really, to make the horror more believable.
It's so deep and rich and rings so true because it's based on Irish folklore. Many generations have been talking about these stories, and you can feel the depth of it, that once upon a time people believed that this was true. There was ancient storytellers that Al was referencing, and then we were taking his knowledge and then making it a kind of Shyamalan contemporary thriller.
Most of my life has been about trying to rationalize how these kind of magical things could exist in today's world. You can feel that in the movies, this sense of like, if they could exist, and that can be a very uncomfortable feeling.